Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you laying your ground, you busting your rounds. Nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back, triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl Kate out back in the Ripple Effect. You know what it is, and you already know the vibe. Shout out to all my supporters, all my day ones. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all have no idea. And let's keep this thing going. There's so much going on. We're hearing about Robert Saleh pleading the fifth with Zach Wilson. Can you blame him? It's like what everybody's been saying. Obviously, he has no control over whether Zach Wilson plays or not. I know a lot of people have other ideas and they're like, yo, maybe we should pull him, maybe we should, you know. What do you got other ideas, bro? It's just not happening. This is what they're gonna run with, and they're gonna figure it out. Aaron Rodgers being a little bit more, you know, reasonable with his expectations of when he's supposed to be coming back. They're saying he said a couple weeks. No. It's going to take a lot longer than that. I mean, for his sake, it better be, because if that O-line is still looking the way it's been looking, because we can put everything on Zach, but, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Garrett Wilson, great. Everything he's been doing, wide receiver, you know, whatever, but he had a drop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and nitpick because I know guys make mistakes, but at the same time, when you know your quarterback is struggling the way he is, you can't afford no mistakes. Just like with their defense, right? They can't afford no mistakes. Anytime they do any little thing, everybody's on the defense now. And it's like, listen, they have to play a perfect game in order to give them a chance to win. So let's just get that out the way. Like, that's just, it is what it is. So the whole team has issues. I mean, we can even argue that's why Aaron Rodgers got hurt with the offensive line. And I don't want to put that on them, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like Aaron Rodgers was talking about the offensive line in training camp. If you didn't watch Hard Knocks, watch it now. It'll give you a little bit more context to what I'm saying, and you'll kind of get it. It'll kind of bring everything sort of full circle, and you can kind of see why everything is going the way it's going. And not necessarily with Aaron Rodgers, that's part of it, because there's a lot of other things going on. But it also goes to show you, is everything supposed to be on Zach Wilson? No, I think that is, like a lot of people are saying, it is a lazy analysis. And, you know, I hate that, because there's just so much that goes into a game plan, that goes into, I mean, a football team. I mean, that's why it's called the ultimate team, because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things have to go a certain way. Like, everybody's got to do their job. Like, you know how football players, or athletes in general, but especially football players, they're very big on, you do your job, because if you do your job, I can do mine, right? If offensive line blocks, you got enough time for the quarterback to throw, you got enough time for the running back to run. Like, I mean, you already know how this is. I know a lot of people are saying, but Breece Hall, he's not getting the... I agree with you there. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if... I can't even tell you. I think it's silly. Your game plan should be run game, great defense. You know, back in the Rex Ryan days. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what your game plan should be. Yeah, but... Sorry, Jets fans. I said sorry in the beginning, and I'm still sorry now. And I don't feel that bad for y'all, because I'm a Giants fan, and I'm not even gonna talk about them. I'm not gonna get my blood pressure up. I'm not gonna get your blood pressure up if you're a Giant. I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna switch over to some NBA a little bit. I know the Panthers and the Bears are playing. Everybody's joking around like, who's watching that game? Me. Because you never know, and not only that, you always want to see who steps up. It is that next man up, so you never know. I know Fields is not playing. We already know that, but they did win a game without him. You know, let's just see how it goes. You know, the Panthers, you do want to see. You know, in a way, I feel sorry for Bryce Young. You know, doesn't have an offensive line. You know, the coach. It's like you don't know if that's the right coach for that team, that scheme for Bryce Young's. I mean, not that you don't know. I mean, the proof's kind of in the pudding right about now, but at the same time, it's like, when you got a guy like C.J. Stroud playing the way he is, and you were picked #1 overall, and you're playing the same position, it's going to raise a couple of eyebrows. It's going to make people sit there and be like, listen, I don't want to say we made a mistake. He's a great kid, great leader. You know, he's got all these things, and we can't really assess his true ability until we can get him maybe the right coach, the right system, guys blocking from, especially since he's an undersized, QB. But, CJ Stroud is like, I mean, earlier today I was watching ESPN and they were sitting there asking, like, this what blows me away. I mean, I know it's for the ratings, so I don't really read too much into it like everybody else, but I just thought it was so funny how it was a debate about whether CJ Stroud should be in the MVP conversation. I thought that was hilarious because to me that is not a debate. That is not a conversation that needs to be had. He needs to be in that discussion. Obviously, Rookie of the Year, that goes without saying. He's in the discussion. For one, he's running away with it. Rookie of the Year, he's running away with that. Now, as for MVP discussion, he's in that discussion. He's in there with Tua, Tyreek. I told you I'm throwing Myles Garrett in there. Nobody's talking about him. I'm throwing T.J. Watt in there. And obviously Patrick Mahomes. He's probably going to be in the discussion every year because that's just how great he is. Because whenever you think he's going to fail, like last year without his number one receiver, without Tyreek Hill, and they still won a Super Bowl. They were supposed to be rebuilding, right? Unbelievable. That's just, he's a game changer. And I only can imagine how much his game is going to progress when his game is all said and done. Is he going to be better than Tom Brady? Is he going to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but arm talent wise, I don't think we've seen anything like it. Dude's up there. But to go back to, CJ Stroud, I mean, when you have a guy, that you could have had a chance to pick, like if you're the Panthers and you could have picked CJ Stroud and this man is in MVP conversations, that's tough. But being realistic, let's play devil's advocate here. We can still think about it logically. Maybe, listen, CJ Stroud's in a better situation. I mean, I think his number one target's like Collins. I forget the dude's name, but that's the point. Like, who is he throwing to that he's, has these yardage? Like, I mean, almost 3,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns. We about to enter week 10, is it? I mean, you can't help but, sit there and say, man, like, don't get me wrong. Like, it doesn't take away from what CJ Stroud is doing. Like, I'm just saying it's all, how I'm not really so high on about how high guys are drafted. I don't really care about that. Numbers really don't mean anything. And in the sense of, I know a lot of people are about to go crazy. Don't pounce just yet. I mean, in the sense of, if it's not the right system for you, you know what I mean? It's probably not going to work. It's not going to look like it translates, and it's going to look like it's a you problem when really it's the team, it's the system. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes things work out for guys, and other times you sit there and you wonder what's going to happen. And that's just going to be interesting. That's just something we got to sit back and really watch. I know people don't want to give people's flowers too early, but then sometimes people don't want to give people's flowers even when it's already said and done, but even the guy on the Rams, what is it? That rookie wide receiver, forgive me, I can't even think of his name. I have it in my head. I know it's a weird pronunciation and I don't want to screw it up too bad, but even a guy like that, people are not really talking about. And this dude, like, rookie of the year, like, you know what I mean? But obviously the quarterback's going to get it over a wide receiver, but it don't mean he don't need to be in the conversation though. Like, that's a conversation that needs to be had. Like, that's kind of the point of that. But, but anyway, it's going to be a good game. I hope I got you guys to at least be interested in watching it. Maybe it'll be a close game. Maybe it'll be a defensive thing. Maybe this will be, that game where, Bryce Young is kind of tired of hearing that, and he wants to kind of go out and really show out and kind of prove, like, yo, listen, I'm having a harder time. Things are a little bit different for me. I can't really look at somebody else's situation, and sit there and judge my, because what do they say? Like, comparisons, or expectations can be the thief of joy. That's very true. But I'm just talking about from a front office perspective. Bryce Young shouldn't be thinking about this. Obviously, CJ Stroud don't need to think about it. Besides, I know players do think about it though. In the sense, I'm not saying he should, but I'm thinking he does think like that, because at the end of the day, if you think you're the best, you want to be number one. And if they didn't pick you number one, you kind of want to show them like, I told you I'm number one. But from a player perspective, you know, unless you can fuel and use that as motivation, you shouldn't really think about that. And I really hope Bryce Young is just kind of sticking to the game plan and really just worrying about his team and what they have going on. And only could hope that he's getting better and better and learning, because it's not easy out there, guys. It's not easy, but it's going to be a good matchup. You know, I mean, there's some NBA games on tonight, too. So if anything, worse comes to worse, you could check that out. But just to switch over to the NBA real quick, I thought it was so funny. I know, you know, got the Knicks gear on. I'm a Knicks fan. The Knicks really showed out. It made me extremely nervous, though, because Mitchell Robinson, you know, was talking a little, you know, like saying like ball. I don't like that comparison, guys, with Wemby and ball, and I don't care for it. I know some people are like, yeah, but they're over 7 foot tall and they can handle. That's pretty much what we're trying to say. You know what? Because then we're going to have to revisit this conversation probably either halfway through the year or next season. And then when he turns into what he's supposed to turn into, it's going to sound crazy. And if you can appreciate some of the things that he's already has done, like he's already had the 38-point game. And guys, everybody's bringing their A game. And like I said, I'm glad Mitchell Robinson showed up, because he worries me about foul trouble, and he's been way better. He's been rebounding. Mitchell Robinson's been doing his job. Like, I know he was complaining a little bit last year and about playing time or even when he's out there. And listen, Mitchell Robinson's been doing his thing. And the fact that he said he was going to treat him pretty much the same way and just kind of move him around and make him uncomfortable. And the fact that he made Wemby look like ball out there, I mean, shout outs to you, man. Like, there's nothing like talking yo stuff and backing it up. So shout out to the Knicks. I mean, they blew them out. Spurs didn't have a chance all game, even though when they tried to make those little runs, they tried to come back, and you like to see the fight in those fellas. I like the Spurs, though. I mean, I know it's not translating yet, but a lot of people don't appreciate the process. And that's kind of what I mean about like Wemby and his maturation process. It's a process, guys. Like, you're not going to see the finished product. Everybody is so cynical, and they want to see everybody fail. And, oh, I told you so. And they just feed off that. I'm just like, relax. Sit there, watch the games, and you're going to see. This is what happens when you're trying to be great. This is what happens. You know, it took what, Jordan, you know, what, 6-7 years, LeBron 6-7 years to win a chip. It's gonna take guys a while. You know what I mean? And you'll get to see, and he's in a great organization with Coach Pop. You've already seen, I mean, when he did the spin and dunk, I'm like, big men are not supposed to be moving like that. And when I mean big men, I'm not talking about big men of, you know, Embiid and Giannis, and this man is like 7'4". They keep changing his size. I mean, I remember one time they were like 7'6", 7'5", 7'4". I feel like he's getting shorter and shorter by every time they keep talking about it. But point is, the man is over 7 feet tall, doing things that a guard would do. And not only that, you see his build, you see his frame. He doesn't have, you know, obviously his like man body yet. That's gonna come later. And then when it does, like I said, I'm going to hate to say I told you so, but actually, no, not really. I'm not going to hate it at all, because it's going to come to that point, because you guys are not paying attention to like the bigger picture. What I like about the kid, I don't care that he's not scoring over 20 a game and then probably can't show up in the fourth quarter when his team really needs him. I'm looking at what he's doing overall. I like his confidence. Man, obviously did not have a good shooting night. Pop has still got him in these 6-minute increments, which is very, if you ever played any type of sport, but I can only really talk about basketball from what I used to do. Listen, it's a rhythm thing. And if you're a shooter and you're getting pulled, you know, that's kind of difficult too. I mean, you also gotta, I know everybody's probably sitting here saying I'm making up excuses. It's not excuses, bro. It's just reality. The reality is, it's going to take him time to get accustomed to the way to his expectations, and also being patient and understanding like, yo, This is not going to happen overnight. This is not going to happen overnight. Even Kevin Durant told you when they tried to make that comparison, even with him. I think it's still ridiculous. Wemby is going to be his own guy. And we're going to watch and we're going to see his maturation. And at the end of the day, I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised. Why? Because I think that's just his destiny. That's just what he was meant to be. And if you're paying attention to the games in which he's able to kind of lock in, and not, it doesn't matter if he has a bad shooting night. He's still engaged. He's still trying to rebound the ball. You know what I mean? He's still on the block. He's still posting up. He's still doing everything for his teammates, setting screens. He's doing it all. And I'm watching, and even when they tried to come back in that run, I'm watching what he's doing, getting to the free throw line. I'm watching him. Like, I know he was getting a little frustrated because the Knicks were playing a very physical, and I really appreciate that. That's my Knicks right there. But at the same time, I'm like, come on, man. This is going to be, he knows that he's getting everybody's best. Like, that's what all I'm trying to say. And you know what? The Knicks came out on top. Because why? The Knicks are battle tested. We've been through a tough physical series with Miami last season. Like, we already know what that's like. We're on a great trajectory. And I'm so happy about where we're at. I know a lot of people are asking me like, oh, but you know, since we're playing so well, maybe we should just keep everybody and we go where we're at. I only have a question for you. Maybe two questions for you. Are we beating Miami? Right? Without Gabe Vincent, without Strus, right? Because Miami let go a couple of key players. Maybe, yeah, we might. Because Miami's not the same team. But are we beating the Bucks? Philly? And I know a lot of people, what they're saying about Philly and James Harden. Did y'all not see what Philly did last night against the Celtics? By the way, as happy as I am that the Knicks were on prime time, and that was only because Wemby was playing and first time in the Garden. Let's not get it twisted. Money's involved, so you already know what that was about. But at the same time, it's like, really? You have the Celtics and the 76ers going up against each other, and y'all already know what it is between them, because the Celtics keep busting their butt every time they play them, right? Especially in the playoffs, because y'all already know what it is. And they're both 5-1, same record. And that game came down all the way down to one possession, right? And Philly beat them by 2. And that was the game that we chose to put on, NBA League Pass or NBA TV. I forgot where I was watching it from, because, you know, I had to go back and forth. And once I saw the Knicks were blowing out the Spurs, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to switch over to the rest of these games that we have here on the schedule, because I'm gonna keep it a buck. That should have been the game to watch. The 76ers and the Celtics. Honestly, it makes me nervous. I know a lot of people are like, yo, how do you feel about the 76ers now that James Harden left and you see Maxey playing? Like, whew. I knew Maxey was gonna be that dude. They let him off. They giving him the ultimate green light. They pretty much saying like, bro, this is not your team. I'm not gonna say that, because, you know, obviously you have Embiid there, but then you see Embiid elevating his game. I don't even know if you want to say elevating his game, because he's the reigning MVP. He's kind of just showing you why he's the reigning MVP, but it makes me nervous. Why? Because I kind of had this whole trade package idea in my head, you know, for the Knicks' benefit, for us to be able to make that trade. You know, Randall, you know, what's his name? Help me out here. You know, just a bunch, I don't know why I can't think of this guy's name right now, but RJ Barrett, that's crazy. I'm thinking I'm like number 9. Like, anyway, point is, like, we have a couple first round picks, you know, for Embiid. I'm like, yo, let's get it going. But the fact that 76ers, I think I misconstrued that whole situation. I mean, the fact that Nick Nurse is coming over with championship experience, obviously, that's sitting here like, yo, y'all forgot what I did in Toronto, and everybody gives Kawhi the credit. But remember, I was the coach. You know, I was able to put everything together, and I had to deal with, you know, with DeRozan not being there, and, you know, I had to bring that team together with Kyle Lowry and everybody believed, and Nick Nurse is that dude. And he already, and look what he's been doing. I mean, Nicholas Batum, great pickup. I mean, that was, 76ers look like they're just in sync. Tobias Harris, he's doing his thing. It's not looking good. I'm just gonna keep it real. That trade is not looking good. I know a lot of people are nervous about the Bucks, but they're gonna figure it out, guys. It's gonna take time. I'm telling you, it's gonna take time. I mean, Dame is coming from a place where they kind of relied on his scoring all the time, you know, and Giannis, and even to the same as well. I know he had Middleton, but at the same time, it's still, you know, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time because I know Middleton said, "Oh, I'm great with being the third option." What are you supposed to say? I hate these guys. Why did he come over here? Like, come on. It's gonna take time. Even if he likes the fact that he came over here, you have to understand when you're comfortable. I mean, put it into a situation that you'll understand. Like if it was your situation, you're comfortable, you're good. You know, yeah, you want to win, but a lot of people want to win their way. They don't want to win just for the sake of winning. You know, they want to be a part of it. And a lot of times they want to be a major part of it. And that's part of the problem too. It's just being able to get that cohesiveness of guys of buying in and understanding when it comes to winning, that means sacrifice. I mean, that's just the way it is. It means sacrificing. I would say compromising, but that would mean somebody else would have to be giving up the same thing you're giving up, or some, you know, something comparable. But that may not even be the case. It just may be you have to sacrifice, and you have to be okay with that. You know, whether that's your numbers, you know, minutes, shot selection. It could be a play. It could be a number of different things, guys, and that's just not easy to do. A lot of people don't understand that, but that plays a major role, and that's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to keep watching that and to see that maturation, because I know everybody's talking about the play-in tournament, and that's cool and everything, but honestly, I just can't wait to get to the playoffs. Like, I think my mind is like, I'm cool with watching everything. You know, I don't want to skip the process. You know, but I really need to see the playoffs because the East is gonna be crazy. Like. And I have this idea. You guys let me know if it's crazy or not, but I just thought of it. You know what, before I even get to that, before I forget, let's talk about this Giannis ejection last night. Like that sounded crazy, but he got kicked out of the game, guys. I guess he forgot that he had a technical foul earlier in the game, and he dunked it on Isaiah like just, I mean, crazy, and just kind of just like, you know, stood over, you know, like, I'm sorry, I come from 90s basketball, okay? That's what I grew up on, that's what I love, and I'm a Knicks fan. You know how we were in the 90s? I mean, we did everything but bring weapons onto the court. I mean, even then, I don't know, don't ask, don't tell. But it's crazy, like, it's crazy how they're making these calls, and it's even crazy that my boy, Dave Morris, appreciate you, I saw Tim Donahue. I mean, I saw the doc a little while ago, but I saw the Netflix special that he had sent me, and I'm just like, that makes me feel so uncomfortable as a fan of the game, because the last thing you want to hear is that these games are being fixed. And I know some people, especially when it comes to the NFL, love like making these little remarks about the game is fixed and ha ha ha, and you know, you'll laugh it off and kind of just be like whatever. But honestly, like, that's crazy. It's crazy on so many levels. I'm talking about for a pure love of the game. I know some people are gonna think that's crazy because of the parlays and everything else, and I totally respect that and understand that, and you know, DraftKings, holla at me. But yeah, it's so crazy because listen, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I don't like the fact that it's up to the discretion of the ref. I don't like how they didn't even get a discussion. They just threw them out. And I get it, usually when they're ready to throw you out, the refs are not really inclined to talk too much. And I'm glad Giannis sat on, you know, by courtside and was kind of like I'm not leaving, because that's crazy for you to try to kick me out of the game for that so early in the game. A superstar, guys, come on. I mean, if I'm paying my hard-earned money. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? And they play in Detroit. Not just no disrespect to Detroit. I like Cade Cunningham and everything, but yo, or even this dude. His mom used to play in Dub in the WNBA. Point is, like, I know you not kicking nobody out of that game, bro. Like that was. NBA, do better. That's all I'm gonna say. Please review it. Please come to a consensus about why that was egregious, to say the least. Adam Silver talking directly to you. That can't happen. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because crazy. Who's watching that game now? Who's watching that game? Because if you're gonna throw him out, Giannis, everybody here that you see Giannis. I mean, this guy's probably, injured, but they were like, oh shit, I'm here, I'm playing because of Giannis. I'm showing up because of Giannis. Are you kidding me? Any other night, security. Man, I was gonna call outside, but I'm showing up because of Giannis. Like valet, ticket, parking guys, whatever. I wasn't almost gonna make it, but I'm showing up because of Giannis, because I know more cars are gonna pull. NBA, do better. Do better. I'm not even gonna keep on, but do better. That is crazy. Crazy. But anyway, back to my idea, right? So I have this idea, NBA players, and speaking of which, because I know the reason why I brought up that first is because, they're going to try to fine him and this and that because, with technical fouls and different things that occur, they're going to try to fine people, right? Because that's just what they do. And I heard a crazy stat that Draymond Green has over $1 million in fines. I'm not going to sit there and go back and forth with people about whether it's justified or not. Yeah, I know he was kicking people and then he got kicked back the other day and maybe that's karma. I don't know. But the point is, that's a lot of money in fines. $1 million, bro. Like, $1 million in fines. Let me show you how crazy this is. Saquon Barkley was arguing over $1 million. That was almost the difference between him, like, almost not playing for the Giants and playing for the Giants. $1 million, but my man got this in fines. Obviously, this is over the course of his career, but fines, $1 million. People are playing scratch-offs for every week trying to get $1 million. $1 million. Let me put it this way. If you work, 25 years, stay with me, if you work 25 years, making around 80 grand, you're not seeing $1 million from that. Do the math. I think it's like 780,000. Point is, I got some free time, between classes. But point is, bro, like, that is a lot of money. So I came up with a proposal. If this guy is losing that much money and obviously not really thinking too much about it because he's making as much money as he's making, obviously we're to the point where $1 million really don't mean much to you. And I know the WNBA, right, is still a baby, right, in a sense that, a lot of people make these comparisons of why, NBA is getting paid so much more than the WNBA, and that's just not to make an excuse. It's just because they're still trying to catch up, and there's a lot of other reasons with marketing, and there's a lot of other things that go into that. But at the same time, it's like, I know a lot of even athletes have asked, where does that money go? Like when Draymond's getting a fine over $1 million, where exactly that money goes? Some people are saying charity, and we don't know exactly what's charity, because does he get to pick the charity? Because it's obviously, like, how exactly does that go? Like, what charity are they teamed up with for them to kind of, and is that kind of right that the NBA gets to pick? Because then it's like, are you like trying to, you have like a budget? And you know who to go to for some, Draymond is that go-to guy, right? Do you have like a budget where you're kind of like, oh, so, we need to get about this much money in fines, right? And we can probably make that up with fines or whatever. I would say they should give that to the W. Give it to the WNBA. All these fines that these guys are accumulating. Because you know what? Maybe the guys might be like, you know what? That's noble. That's a great cause. That's something that they may, be okay with besides money. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's okay with money just taken away from them because they did something wrong. That's not exactly the kind of corrective action that you'd want. And trust me, I can't say that I empathize with that because I never had money nowhere near that magnitude taken away from me, or money taken away from me, through something like that. Anyway, but I can understand, right? That's not something that you would want. But I think that might be a good idea. I can see how some people would probably see like, oh, so now you're calling the WNBA charity, blah, 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 blah. No. If you want to take it there, I can't control how people feel and how they perceive information. all I can tell you is that that could be a great way, to kind of, I don't want to say smooth things over, but it's like a great way of kind of saying like, okay, these guys, okay, they did something wrong. This is all this money in fines, right? Who can benefit, right? Or what could we do? Or if people don't like the fact that, making their salaries, that makes them feel a little weird, and I can see why they would, right? I can see it. Then why don't you put that money into the marketing for the WNBA? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because if everybody's complaining, like, there's not that much, it's not as big of a fan base, which is fair. It's not big of a fan base, but maybe there isn't if there's not enough marketing. Because one thing I can tell you is, as an entrepreneur, like, it's very difficult because marketing is very expensive. It's crazy how expensive it is. It's very expensive. It can be very time consuming. So it's just an idea. I could get killed for it, but you know what I mean? By the end of the day, it's supposed to be for a good cause in a sense. And I know that sounds bad. It sounds terrible because I'm making it seem like the women deserve charity. And it's like, no, that's not the way I'm trying to, angle it. I'm just trying to think of a way in which, the money could be allocated better besides the money just going into this NBA abyss. I mean, you tell me if the NBA abyss is better, or if you can actually point me into the direction of where exactly this money is going in terms of a great cause. I think furthering another business is a great cause. That's what I think personally, and your sister business being the WNBA. It's just an idea. Whatever. One last point before I let y'all go, because there's games to be watched, and homework don't sleep. So we're gonna bring up CJ Stroud again. Why? Because he plays for the Texans. Why do we care about that? Why is this important? This is important because remember, Deshaun Watson was playing for the Texans. We already know about his off the court issues, and a lot of them were, criminally they were thrown out, but civilly there was a lot of cases. There was a lot of stuff going on, right? And and the whole point was he wanted to leave Texas prior to all these allegations. But nonetheless, he was traded. Biggest contract in history in terms of guaranteed money at the time, which was $230 million. And granted, at the time before, the suspensions and everything were handed down, this guy, you're literally talking about one of the, top 5 QBs in the game doing it, without, any real help or run game, to say the least. Dude was just balling out. I mean, there was nothing he couldn't do, right? Scrambling, finding a pass, on the run, rushing. Dude was a stud, right? Everybody wanted him, which hence why the Browns chose to make that unprecedented, contract to him, and the fact that he hasn't lived up so far with the Browns, and I know they're still trying to figure out what he can be because of now it's the injuries, and there's a lot of things going on, with the Browns, but the Browns defense been holding it down. Myles Garrett, like Denzel Ward in the backfield. Listen, and the DBs, like, they've been holding it down, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder who got the better end of the stick, the Texans or the Browns. And we're talking longevity too, right? Because if CJ Stroud keeps playing like this for years to come, and eventually we're still trying to see if Deshaun Watson is going to get back to where he was on some level. Maybe not exactly, because right now it's looking very improbable, but you just never know. I don't like betting against athletes because they put their mind to something, and it's almost like you tell them that, like, I feel like you only tell them that if you want them to actually be back to the way they were, because they need that added motivation, a lot of them. So, you know what I mean? I don't like to do that, but at the same time, I mean, if we're being realistic, it looks like the Texans are getting the better end of that deal just because of the way CJ Stroud is playing, and he's young, rookie, and already in MVP conversations. Why? Because I put him there. And we just don't know about Deshaun. I mean, I hope he gets back. I mean, I'm one of those people, like, I'm one of those second chance, you know what I mean, hopefuls, and, you know, because you just never know, and I don't know the particulars with everything in his situation, so you never want to, you know, completely judge. But if you do, it's America, you know, do what you want. But I'm just saying, I always try to root for everybody to try to, you know, do what they got to do. But we'll see what happens. And, you know, real quick, I don't like to talk about the Cowboys too much because I feel like enough people do that. But just talk about that Cowboys and Eagles game. I mean, the Eagles pretty much already showed you, right? They showed you they're about that business. You know, Dak, he actually had a good game. I know a lot of people want to say, but he was like, what, a couple of inches short of getting that touchdown because his foot went out of bounds, like a piece of his foot or whatever the case may be. Whatever. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, Dak can have a good game, but at the same time, the Eagles are just that much better. I just think everybody's missing that point. No one's saying the Cowboys are bad. Well, I can't say nobody. I'm sure somebody out there that really hates the Cowboys is saying that they're bad and they're this and they're that and they're Dak, blah, blah, blah. Dak had to me, he had a good game. You know what I mean? I know everybody's waiting for him to make that game-changing play. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know if he's going to. I don't know if that's one of those things you're just waiting to happen, something that's just never going to happen. I mean, I don't know. But I can tell you right now, the Eagles right now are better. They're just better. The better team won. What do you want me to say? But y'all already know, man. I know. All right. I was going to do a whole nother episode on this because I don't want this to take up so much time. But a lot of people want me to talk about LeBron James and his legacy and would it have been different if he hadn't have went to Miami. That is so loaded. It's so loaded. And I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have to wait on that. I know I mentioned it. And I hate to be one of those people to be like, listen, I'm... It's like, I don't want to be that, but listen. I'm going to come out with another episode tomorrow just talking about that because it's so loaded. It's so loaded. And it can't just happen just in the next couple minutes. Let's just be real. But y'all already know. I only ask y'all to remember one thing. Losses equals...
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason. It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.